Hi everyone, welcome back to the card table. Here's a fantastic card trick that was sent to me by my friend Mr. Dream Magic. Go and check out his channel and subscribe. He's quite a nice young lad, so you'll make a good friend there. Anyway, this is the trick that he sent to me. In a moment, I'm going to give these cards to Mrs. Field, and I want her to think of a number between 10 and 20, but not tell me what it is. She's then going to count down that number of cards onto the table. So, for example, if she thinks of the number 12, she will deal down 12 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. While she's doing this, I'll have my back to her so I can't see or hear anything. She will then look at this card that she's dealt to and memorize it and show it to you handsome subscribers so you can join in on the fun of the trick. That's what I need her to do. So let me just look away. So first of all, dear, please think of a number between 10 and 20. When you've got that number, deal that same number of cards face down onto the table. Now, before we started this trick, I asked her to be very quiet when she deals the cards so that there's no way that I can hear or get any information of what number that she's thinking of. And apart from that, the trick doesn't work like that anyway. I think she's finished. What I need you to do now, Mrs. Field, is to have a look at that top card of that pile and then show it to the handsome subscribers so they can join in on the fun of the trick and remember the card yourself. Then replace it back on top of that pile and then place the rest of the deck on top. And can you square everything up before I turn around so that I don't have no clues or information? Perfect. So Mrs. Field has randomly thought of a number, dealt down to that number and memorized the card in that position. I'm now going to attempt to tell her what number she's thinking of using my mind-reading powers of observation. I'm getting a number, I think it's 14. Was that the number you thought of? Hey, pretty lucky. But you know what? We can go one step further, because if I just make a little cut like this and take out a small packet of cards, I'm not going to count these cards because you guys know as well as I do that I'm capable of cheating. So I'm going to let Mrs. Field count these cards. So you thought of the number 14, right? Can you count those cards onto the table one at a time and see how many cards are there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14 cards. Was the card that you looked at the 2 of spades? It was? Well, look at that. Isn't that interesting? Coming up, everybody, is the tutorial. I think this is a great trick, and it makes use of the breather crimp card principle. And here's how you make one. You get a spare card. I'm using the joker. And you turn it face down, and using the thumb and the first and second fingers of your hands, you start from the middle of the card and you pull to the edges of the card. What that will do is it'll put a cross into the card. I've exaggerated this so you can see it. If you place the card into the deck and square up the cards and just cut them in a relaxed manner, you'll automatically cut to that breather crimp card. That's the principle of it, and here's how it works in the context of the trick. You get that card and you place it on top of the deck and you say to your spectator, I want you to think of a number between 10 and 20 and deal that number of cards down onto the table. So you might think of the number 15, so you deal down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cards. I then want you to look at the card that you've dealt to, remember it, put it back on top of the packet, and then put the rest of the cards on top. What's happened there is, not only have you explained the premise of the trick and what you want them to do, you've also got the gimmick card to the bottom of the deck, which is exactly where you want it. So you give the cards to the spectator and you ask them to deal whatever number they were thinking of face down onto the table. Of course, you look away while they do it. So let's say they thought of the number 15. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They look at this card and they remember it. That's easy to remember, isn't it? The Ace of Spades. Then they place the rest of the pack on top. I'll leave this face up. In performance, you would turn it face down, but I'll leave it face up so we can follow it. What happens now is that the selection ends next to the crimped card. So you take the cards back and you give them a little riffle like this, and maybe a false cut, and you say, you know what? I think I can tell you what number you were thinking of. Was it the number 19? And of course, we know that's wrong. But you might get lucky and you might get it right. If you're lucky and you get it right, you take the credit. If you're wrong, you say, "Oh, I knew I should have used my sleight of hand. Watch this." You then perform the following move. You hold the pack in biddle grip, you cut off the top third of the deck, swing cut it into the left hand, and you outjob this right hand packet over the left hand packet, and if your right thumb just relaxes, it will automatically cut to that crimp card. You then drop the right hand packet of what's left of it to the back, which leaves this portion outjobbed. You then swing this packet out and drop it onto the table. Then you immediately reverse count the top 3 or 4 cards and say, if I counted them, you'd probably accuse me of cheating, so would you count them for me? But by the way, what number did you think of? They will then confirm the number, and of course, because you've got the cards on the table now, you're committed. So they'll say 15. So you say, well, count the cards, and they'll count them, and they'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cards. That's the first surprise. And the second surprise is you ask them to reveal the card that they looked at. They'll say the ace of spades or whatever it was, and you'll turn it over and say, well, fancy that. Okay, coming up, a few hints and tips. Here's a few tips. It's much stronger from a presentational point of view to cut the center packet out first and place it onto the table before you ask the spectator what number they thought of. The cards are here on the table now, so you're committed and you can't add or take away any of these cards. Also, the spectator has a free choice and a free card in this effect. So you really want to keep mentioning that, because from a presentational point of view, it's a good thing to do, and it's very strong. Okay, have fun with that, everybody, and I'll see you next time at the card table.